Derek, is Phillips now?
Yeah, I think he's going to be fine. He took a reverse hit there in practice. Looks a little woozy, but I haven't heard either way, so obviously we'll probably find out tomorrow. I have the luxury of having a day in between our games Saturday.
How valuable is just getting, you may have alluded to it before, like getting a couple practices in right this time of year?
Good. Obviously, saw today we had a bunch of guys out, maintenance day, a lot of bruises. Understandable this time of year, but I think there's some value to it. And tomorrow will be a little more detail, maybe some structure. We had the one structure drill today, surrounded by some skill and a game, but it's always important. And we've talked about even erring on the importance of practice over games and where we are as a team and organization. So yes, very important. Yeah, Ben Chiarot. Ben's been dealing with something upper body. I do not expect him Saturday. He might even be in that week-to-week range. We'll see him before the season's out, but he's been dealing with something for a little bit now, and he won't be available for Saturday.
Of course, you have the two guys up and then sent back down. Do you see having to get them back up at all?
Possibly. And again, I think that's just those, and again, I'm not a manager, but those are the rules of the emergency. They can't be around to practice. They're technically supposed to be around for games. So I think we'll see where the dust settles tomorrow, what we have for practice, and we'll know what we'll need for Saturday.
If you have, you have a defenseman out there, regular defenseman out there. I know you have enough, but is there a temptation to look at anybody from Grand Rapids? Or?
Yeah, just the Ben news, the Benny Chiarot was news this morning, so it's something Steve and I have not even talked about. So I won't even know where. It'd just be speculation on where to start.
How is Fabbri? Is he getting closer?
Yeah, he actually went out for a little skate today, but closer. But again, there's just. Yeah, I think the immediate reaction was we'd be really, really conservative and cautious with it. We'll keep that approach.
Something that I was stuck in my brain after the Fabbri. You told me the game that Fabbri got hurt. You said he went and skated on the other rink.
Yep.
Right. I'm just curious, not on him, but on the concept of having another rink available to you mid-game. Have you ever been?
No.
Like just
in Tampa, we'd have to drive 14 miles,
yeah.
So that probably wouldn't happen. So yeah, maybe the luxury of it, but the reality of it being a rink too, there's usually minor hockey on it or men's league. So I think it was the perfect storm. It was available. Didn't know how he felt. Obviously, his history. So I think it was just an opportunity just to go get a little twirl, see if he can come back, which obviously he wasn't able to.
When you with them playing tonight, or your next one, when you're watching the game, right, how much do you sit there and watch to get all dialed in? Do you sit back more and just kind of watch and then try and diagnose tomorrow morning? How will you watch the Colorado game tonight?
Scout. This day and age, we will have all three games back and broken down. So I may watch it just curious. Sometimes, you get the opponent, you get a feel for it. But this day and age of the pre-scout, our video coaches have that thing cut up and then some. So, you just, maybe back in the day. But today's NHL, you're so prepared and on top of everything everyone does. And obviously we had a game previously with them. So, I'll watch more as a fan.
Yeah, that was kind of more my question, mentality-wise. Not as much as, I know you're not the one going, you guys are.
Yeah, well, I do, obviously, yes.
Down, but I was wondering, is it one where you can drink a beer and watch a hockey game or
something
like that? Yeah,
for sure, exactly, yes.
IPA or?
An IPA. I gave those up for New Year's. Didn't last very long.
Is there a concern? I mean, you got, 15 games left and standings are what they are. How do you, I guess motivation's not that difficult, but how do you make these games still really relevant and important for everybody?
I give the guys credit. We've talked about some things that are going to keep us building forward as a group, and a lot of our core is here right now. I give the guys a ton of credit on the compete and the battle. And we had a meeting this morning, and I don't want that to tail off. And basically I said, what you've shown through those Boston games, what they've shown compete-wise in Nashville, I want to hold you accountable on that, because I understand there might be a human nature to tail off of that a little bit, but we haven't hit that yet. I've actually been, many things you could pick apart from our game today. Obviously, the 5 penalties, I think, were a big part of it, our inability to finish, but I was very impressed with our compete. We went and gamed it out there. Really felt we deserved better result, but it's a great question because it's something you battle this time of year. But to date, our compete and will and want has been pretty darn good, and we would like to keep that standard.
Obviously, you still have those 15 games to prove or to accomplish goals that you guys have set at the beginning of the season, but you talked a lot about this team wanting to play meaningful games at this point in the season. If it ended today, do you feel like you've accomplished those goals? Do you think
Yes.
the team feels like
Well,
it?
you want to be as long as you can. I remember, God, someone might have asked me early on what would a successful season look like, and I'm very cautious. I don't like to talk outcome, especially long-term outcome. But playing meaningful games as long as possible, and the Ranger game, that West Coast game, Tampa at home, the Ottawa game, even a couple games after that, there's growth in those, both good and bad. We performed well in some of those games, and obviously in the Ottawa game we did not, but I think there's growth in that. So as a coach, it's never going to be successful. You always want more, but I think that broad goal of me making that statement beginning of the season, we check that off.
You mentioned the growth. Just how are you seeing that growth in ways that maybe we don't see it on the ice? What kind of growth do you see from games like that?
I just say the right way, and you can see when we play the right way, and you don't have to be a hockey expert to watch us go into a tough barn in Nashville on a team that was on a 7-2-1 stretch, who's 10 games over 500. We literally gave up 4 to 5. One of our best analytic underlying nights. We gave up 2 chances 5-on-5, and we spent 10 minutes in the penalty box, and we gave up literally 6 chances the entire game. 9 out of 10 times you win that game. To me, that's growth when you're not turning pucks over, when you're not giving easy offense, when you're defending the right way, when you looked organized with high compete. To me, that's a goal of ours down the stretch. And for the most part, over the last 4, 5, 6 games, we've done that. Haven't gotten results in all of them, but if you keep doing that, if we continue to keep doing that, we'll get some results down the stretch.
How did you thought of Chiarot on the right side in those few looks?
I've liked it, and again, I think it's hard. You can see those guys have to get their feet around things when they're off-hand and how it puts them in uncomfortable spots. Benny took a couple hits because of it, of having to get around a puck, exactly why you like lefty and righty. But for the most part, they're good. They kind of follow the rest of our team. They're defending the proper way. They're not turning pucks over. Pucks are moving north. So it's been a good look for those guys.
What do you miss? I miss most about Chiarot, just the physicality.
Yeah, for sure, of course. The compete. We don't have a lot of that. We're not built like that. We want to be as heavy as possible, and a lot of our times when you see heavy in our game, a heavy hit in the D zone, a separation of the puck in the D zone, Benny's that guy a lot. So obviously you'd miss that body, and just a couple moments within the season, him standing up for his teammates in Minnesota, some things like that. Obviously he has it, but he has the respect of that in the league. So we'll certainly miss the big body.
Are you just ruling him out for Saturday for now, or are you shutting him down for a few days?
I think it's going to be more of a week-to-week from my initial. Again, we will see him again this year, but it'll be more in the week-to-week than day-to-day.
You saw Nashville, Colorado this weekend. You see 2 Western teams. And I'm curious, is there anything as a coach where you look at where there's a style or trend or anything about Western Conference hockey versus Eastern Conference hockey?
Yeah.
Today's age?
No, I don't feel that. I think you can say that sometimes, but I don't think. Colorado, it's 2 of the different best players in the world that can turn a game around. We played pretty well in Colorado and lost by 3 goals. And McCarr and McKinnon were all over it when the rest of our 5-on-5 game was pretty darn good. So No, I don't think there's a lot of difference. I mean, you look at our division, it's you could have an argument. I mean, just look at our record. I don't know what our record against the West. I guarantee it's better than what it is against our division. So I think it's healthy, and I think the standard our division has set is forcing us to get to another level. Look no further than the deadline and Steve's comments of, obviously, you have three of the best teams in the league in Boston, Toronto, and Tampa, and we have to play these teams 4 times all year. Someone told me we had the toughest schedule in the league. Well, when you know, 7th of your schedules versus the 3 best, of course it is. It's simple math. But it's where Ottawa, Montreal, Buffalo, they've just drafted higher and longer for us. But this is forcing us to go from here to here. Could we be in the West right now and talking about the playoffs? I don't know. I think that's unfair to say. Obviously, we'd flip a bunch of Boston, Tampa, Toronto games into the West. But what does that mean? It's just we're trying to get to a better position as an organization. And if you can start climbing your way in our division, it's going to put you in a pretty good spot within the league.
Derek Chiarot, I mean, that plus-minus rating, it is, it is what it is. Is that just facing a lot of the other teams?
Yes.
I mean, what do you think what was the case there this season?
I don't put as much weight in that plus-minus. There's a reason that's a little outdated. I think there's some truth to it. Benny be the first one to admit it's found him in a few situations, but I just think it's what we've asked of him. I mean, we're asking him to play his offhand here against top line, so there's still more season for Benny left this year, but we are very happy with what he's brought us and him being part of that core, even in closed doors. He's been a very valuable addition to our team.
Is there a good public-facing stat that people should look at with him? I think my keyword is public-facing.
Yeah, I just think the D numbers. God, I remember we had in Toronto. I'm not going to mention the name. He was an analytic darling, and all he did was just literally back into our goalie. And it's we even had to dive into the underlying numbers with an analytics team of, like, why is this guy an analytic darling? Well, he keeps everything in front of him. It's easy to keep everything in front of him when you just stand on top of the goalie and there's always 9 other players ahead of you. So I don't know if there's an exact on that. I think analytics is still growing. There's a lot of it's too fluid of a game to put and I give the hockey world, if you will, even the media, how they've kind of got away from the plus minus. When you guys know, you've been in this league a lot, that used to be the standard, plus minus. So I still think it's growing and it's an evolving situation, those underlying numbers. But no, I wouldn't have an exact.
Regardless of team, regardless of end result, how important are games like Nashville where it's that 1-2 goal difference coming down the stretch for a team like this where it's growing?
Yeah, just playing the right way, going into a tough environment, being an underdog, and finding a way to play the right way, and the margin of error, learning from it. That's a frustrating game. Really felt like we deserved more, but we missed a check for a tip. We got beat out of a corner. We had 2 D-zone lapses end up in the back of our net. There's always growth in those tight games.
Who's your March Madness pick?
I am awful at basketball. I just we have a family, no money type pool. We've had it forever. And I just hit a bunch of buttons. I usually just go top seed. And my daughter goes jerseys, colors, and always finishes well ahead of me.
Have you ever won?
I've never won.
That's a big-time pride thing, probably, right there.
Big time, but I always do. I'm a Syracuse fan, growing up in upstate New York. So it used to always kill me because I was Syracuse right to the finals, and that hasn't been the case. So they bailed me out this year, not being in.